Hope you all had a wonderful and spooky Halloween. Sorry for my absence in yesterday's video. I was busy getting ready for Christmas. A huge new recipe is looming for a Christmas cake. And for those curious, there will be updates to last year's Winter Wonderland cake. Brace your bums. Now, have you ever wondered how to make a cake with a twist? Today, we'll dive into the recipe for lime gum cake with lime gum icing. This cake is a delightful surprise, blending traditional ingredients like all-purpose flour, sugar and butter with lime-flavoured gum. To top it all off, we'll be whipping up a zesty lime gum icing. So, let's roll up our sleeves and gather 6 ounces of flour, 8 ounces of sugar and our other ingredients. With all our ingredients ready, it's time to start baking. Preparation is key to a successful cake. Let's start with preheating the oven. For our delightful lime gum cake, we need to set the oven to a toasty 350 degrees Fahrenheit. While it's warming up, let's get our cake pan ready. Choose an 8-inch round one and give it a good greasing and flouring. Next up, we'll handle our secret ingredient, the lime gum. Pop those lime-flavoured gems into a food processor or blender and give them a whirl until they're finely ground. It's the lime gum that gives our cake its unique flavour and a bit of unexpected fun. Now, it's time for the dry ingredients. Grab a medium bowl and combine the all-purpose flour, baking powder and a dash of salt. Stir it all together until it's well mixed. Switching gears, let's cream the butter and sugar. Take a large mixing bowl and beat the softened butter and granulated sugar until they're light and fluffy. This process helps to incorporate air, making our cake beautifully tender and moist. Once the butter and sugar are creamed to perfection, we'll add the eggs. Crack them in one at a time, mixing well after each. Then stir in a splash of vanilla extract for an extra hint of sweetness and aroma. Now comes the moment of unity. We'll gradually add the dry ingredients to our butter mixture, alternating with the milk. Remember, we want to mix just until combined to keep our cake light and fluffy. Fold in the finely chopped lime gum and we're ready to bake. Pour the batter into our prepped cake pan and pop it into the preheated oven. It'll need about 25 to 30 minutes to bake to golden perfection. A toothpick inserted in the center should come out clean when it's done. Once baked, let the cake cool in the pan for about 10 minutes, then transfer it to a wire rack to cool completely. The anticipation might be hard to handle, but a cool cake is easier to frost and we want our lime gum icing to spread smoothly. With our cake cooling off, let's move on to the icing. While our cake cools, let's prepare the lime gum icing. Our first step is to make the lime gum syrup. In a small saucepan, add a few pieces of lime gum and just a splash of water. We're aiming for about 1 to 2 tablespoons. Heat this over a low flame until the gum melts into a syrup. It's a bit like making a sweet lime-infused potion. Strain any gum residue and you're left with a vibrant aromatic syrup. Now let's move on to the lime gum icing. In a medium bowl, whisk together powdered sugar, softened butter, milk and vanilla until smooth. This mixture should be creamy and light, a blank canvas ready to be transformed by our lime gum syrup. Slowly add the syrup to the icing, stirring until well combined. The icing should take on a lovely green tint and a zesty lime flavour. If your icing is too thick, feel free to add a bit more milk. You're aiming for a spreadable consistency that will glide smoothly over our cake. As our icing comes together, you'll notice the kitchen filling with a delightful citrus aroma. It's a scent that promises a refreshing twist to a classic treat. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, the final decoration. Once the cake is completely cool, spread the icing over the top. Use a spatula to spread it evenly, ensuring every slice will have its fair share of this tangy topping. For an extra touch of citrus magic, garnish with a sprinkle of lime zest. The zest adds a pop of colour and an additional burst of lime flavour. With the icing spread and the zest sprinkled, our cake transformation is complete. What was once a simple sponge cake is now a lime gum cake, a dessert that promises to be as fun as it is delicious. With our lime gum icing spread over the cake, our lime gum cake is ready to be relished. There you have it, a delicious lime gum cake with lime gum icing. We began by creating our cake batter, carefully combining our dry and wet ingredients and folding in our unique ingredient, the lime-flavoured gum. After baking to perfection, we whipped up our lime gum icing, incorporating that delightful lime gum syrup for an extra zing. The final touch was a generous spread of icing atop our cooled cake, offering a sweet and tangy complement to our lime gum-infused creation. Enjoy your lime gum cake and its refreshing lime gum flavour. Happy baking! Before we wrap up, let's share a cautionary tale that underscores the importance of maintaining cleanliness while baking. This is the story of Miss Belle Pum. On Halloween night this year, she was hosting a party at her friend's house. The attendees included a charming family: Hauve, a candy floss mother; Pole, a cuddly polar bear; Nuddles, a golden bear; and Zoe, also made of candy floss. While preparing her cake recipe, a truly unfortunate accident occurred. Miss Belle Pum, who was standing next to a bus cleaning its onboard toilet, inadvertently emptied the toilet tank into her cake batter. A ghastly mix of unspeakable substances tainted her recipe. Oblivious to her mistake, she went ahead and baked the cake, serving it to her unsuspecting guests. The results were catastrophic. The partygoers fell ill, creating such a mess that the palace's windows were flooded and a sea of sickness flowed into the street. One guest even experienced an incident so extreme that it's best left to the imagination. The moral of this horrific tale? Always ensure your baking environment is clean and never prepare food near potential sources of contamination. You certainly don't want to repeat Miss Belle Pum's Halloween horror. Happy and safe baking, everyone. Having heard the dreadful tale of Miss Belle Pum's Halloween catastrophe, let's delve further into the aftermath and how she managed to redeem herself. In the wake of the horrific incident, Miss Belle Pum was mortified. She hadn't intended for her Halloween celebration to turn into a nightmare. The palace was a mess, the streets were flooded with the remnants of the disaster, and her reputation as a baker was in tatters. She even received the dubious honour of being named the Scourge of Halloween. But Miss Belle Pum didn't let this incident define her. She took responsibility for her mistake and set out to make amends. First, she personally cleaned the palace and streets, ensuring no trace of the horror remained. Then, she invited the same guests back for a redemption party, promising a clean and enjoyable experience. This time, she prepared her cake in a spotless kitchen, far from any potential sources of contamination. The result was a delicious, safe and contamination-free cake that restored her reputation and won back the hearts of her friends. The tale of Miss Belle Pum serves as a stark reminder to all of us about the importance of cleanliness in baking. Remember, a clean kitchen is a happy kitchen, and a happy kitchen leads to happy guests. Let's all learn from Miss Belle Pum's mistake and ensure our baking environment is always clean. Happy and safe baking, everyone.